My research question is, how do the menu and Parasite use cinematic techniques to critique dehumanization and class consciousness through a Marxist lens? Both films critique capitalism through a Marxist perspective, focusing on class hierarchy and the reduction of individuals within these systems. However, they differ significantly in how cinematic techniques construct these ideas, reflecting their distinct cultural contexts. Parasite, directed by Bong Joon-ho, reflects South Korea's deeply entrenched economic inequality, where class divisions are internalized and social mobility is limited. In contrast, The Menu, directed by Mark Mylod, critiques Western elite consumer culture, where wealth enables the consumption of experiences without ethical awareness. This cultural contrast is significant as it shapes how each film critiques dehumanization and class consciousness, one through realism and the other through exaggeration. Both films construct class consciousness through cinematic techniques, but differ in how explicitly it is presented. In Parasite, the motif of smell functions as an invisible marker of class.
Respect!
Close-up cinematography isolates subtle facial expressions, particularly Mr. Park's reaction of disgust. His restrained performance, the small gestures such as covering his nose, reveals how class prejudice is internalized rather than openly expressed. The absence of dialogue intensifies this, suggesting that class hierarchy operates silently yet powerfully. In contrast, The Menu externalizes class consciousness through performance and framing. Close-ups tightly frame the guests, visually trapping them and exposing their discomfort. Unlike Parasite, where class awareness is subtle, here it becomes visible as the guest's entitlement begins to collapse. This difference is significant because it reflects cultural context. Parasite portrays class consciousness as a deeply ingrained and normalized, whereas The Menu exposes it as performative and fragile. Both films critique dehumanization through mise-en-scène, yet they differ in execution. In Parasite, the Indian costume transforms the father into a spectacle. The exaggerated costume strips him of identity, and through blocking and performance, he is positioned as entertainment rather than an individual. This reflects Marxist ideas of alienation, where individuals are reduced to their function within a capitalist system. Similarly, The Menu represents dehumanization through the tortilla scene, but in a more explicit and symbolic way. The tortillas act as a prop that display personal information.
Tortillas deliciosas.
Yeah, so what are these?
These are tortillas, which contain EcoBright's tax records and other documents showing how your company has created invoices with fake charges.
How did you get these?
I'm sorry, but Chef never reveals his recipes.
Transforming identity into something consumable. The sterile mise-en-scène reinforces the artificiality of elite culture. While both films depict individuals as objects, Parasite grounds this in a social realism, whereas The Menu exaggerates it through symbolism. This contrast is significant because it shows how dehumanization can be either normalized within everyday life or exposed through satire. Both films also critique the relationship between power and materialism, but reach different conclusions. In Parasite, the car keys symbolize the prioritization of objects. Through close-up shots and rapid editing, attention shifts away from the injured body towards the key, emphasizing misplaced value. This reflects commodity fetishism, where material objects hold greater importance than people. In contrast, The Menu critiques false consciousness through performance. The guests initially display confidence and entitlement, believing their wealth grants them control. However, as their behavior shifts into panic, this illusion collapses. Through blocking and sound, the chef is positioned as dominant, creating a clear power reversal. Unlike Parasite, which reinforces the permanence of class hierarchy, the menu suggests that power can be temporarily disrupted. This difference highlights how each film critiques capitalism, one as inescapable, the other as unstable. Overall, both films use cinematic techniques to critique dehumanization and class consciousness, yet their approaches differ significantly. Parasite relies on subtle realism, using microexpressions, symbolic props, and naturalistic performance to reveal how class divisions are internalized and inescapable. In contrast, the menu employs exaggerated symbolism, controlled framing, and performative breakdowns to directly expose capitalism systems. In conclusion, both films effectively use cinematic techniques to critique dehumanization and class consciousness through a Marxist lens. However, their contrasting approaches demonstrate how cultural contexts shape the representation of capitalist critique, revealing both the normalization and instability of class structures.